Say, well. This is HQ. We're not watching another foreign headline. We're living through an open-ended war the United States just launched on Iran with Israel at our side. And the global economy is starting to buckle too. So this isn't limited strikes anymore. It's a major military offense, chaos that's now interrupting markets, peace, and everyday people's wallets. What is going on with the world today? What is going on with the world?
A short time ago, the United States military began major combat operations in Iran. Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime, a vicious group of very hard, terrible people. Its menacing activities directly endanger the United States, our troops, our bases overseas, and our allies throughout the world. For 47 years, the Iranian regime has chanted death to America and waged an unending campaign of bloodshed and mass murder, targeting the United States, our troops, and the innocent people in many, many countries. Among the regime's very first acts was to back a violent takeover of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, holding dozens of American hostages for 444 days. In 1983, Iran's proxies carried out the Marine barracks bombing in Beirut that killed 241 American military personnel. In 2000, they knew and were probably involved with the attack on the USS Cole. Many died. Iranian forces killed and maimed hundreds of American service members in Iraq. The regime's proxies have continued to launch countless attacks against American forces stationed in the Middle East in recent years, as well as U.S. naval and commercial vessels and international shipping lanes. It's been mass terror, and we're not going to put up with it any longer. From Lebanon to Yemen and Syria to Iraq, the regime has armed, trained, and funded terrorist militias that have soaked the earth with blood and guts. And it was Iran's proxy, Hamas, that launched the monstrous October 7th attacks on Israel, slaughtering more than 1,000 innocent people, including 46 Americans, while taking 12 of our citizens hostage. It was brutal, something like the world has never seen before. Iran is the world's #1 state sponsor of terror and just recently killed tens of thousands of its own citizens on the street as they protested. It has always been the policy of the United States, in particular, my administration, that this terrorist regime can never have a nuclear weapon. I'll say it again. They can never have a nuclear weapon. That is why in Operation Midnight Hammer last June, we obliterated the regime's nuclear program at Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. After that attack, we warned them never to resume their malicious pursuit of nuclear weapons, and we sought repeatedly to make a deal. We tried. They wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. Again, they wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. They didn't know what was happening. They just wanted to practice evil. But Iran refused, just as it has for decades and decades. They've rejected every opportunity to renounce their nuclear ambitions, and we can't take it anymore. Instead, they attempted to rebuild their nuclear program and to continue developing long-range missiles that can now threaten our very good friends and allies in Europe, our troops stationed overseas, and could soon reach the American homeland. Just imagine how emboldened this regime would be if they ever had and actually were armed with nuclear weapons as a means to deliver their message. For these reasons, the United States military is undertaking a massive and ongoing operation to prevent this very wicked, radical dictatorship from threatening America and our core national security interests. We are going to destroy their missiles and raise their missile industry to the ground. It will be totally, again, obliterated. We're going to annihilate their Navy. We're going to ensure that the region's terrorist proxies can no longer destabilize the region or the world and attack our forces, and no longer use their IEDs or roadside bombs, as they are sometimes called, to so gravely wound and kill thousands and thousands of people, including many Americans.
I was under the impression that we had already devastated their war capabilities. I was under the impression from the last time that we dropped bombs that we had decimated them already. Okay, that was my understanding. They launched massive military strikes across Iran, targeting the leadership, nuclear sites, air defenses, strategic infrastructure, all of that. And then they end up, according to news reports, killing Ayatollah Khomeini. Okay, all of that. And it's not theoretical. This is not a joke. This is not military action. Here's the hard truth about this shit. When a military action goes this far, when the military action is going this far, when strikes extend deep into another country, when leadership is killed, when they start exchanging missiles in Tel Aviv, Qatar, many American military sites, when they are having regional repercussions, this is a war. I don't care what this president said. I don't care what anybody say. People keep asking me all day, we're not at war. People keep saying, we're not at war. We're not at war. Yes, we are at war. This is a war. Make no mistake about it. It's a war, whether anybody want to call it a war or not. This president got us into another war. Another war.
And we will ensure that Iran does not obtain a nuclear weapon. It's a very simple message. They will never have a nuclear weapon. This regime will soon learn that no one should challenge the strength and might of the United States Armed Forces. I built and rebuilt our military in my first administration, and there is no military on earth even close to its power, strength, or sophistication. My administration has taken every possible step to minimize the risk to U.S. personnel in the region. Even so,
we didn't need to go to war. This is a lie. This is some kind of subterfuge. This is some kind of a cover. We didn't need to go to war. Nobody needed to go to war. They just needed to get a Republican president. We just needed to get a Republican president who was known for dragging us into wars. Okay, months before we had that election, Stephen Miller was talking about, oh, Kamala gonna get us into war. No, we knew Kamala wasn't gonna get us into wars. We knew that. We were afraid that this president was gonna get us into wars, and sure enough, here we are. This country, every Republican president drags us into bullshit like this. War. They try to make the only difference between this president and George Bush is that at least he had people go out and try to make the case for the war. This president never tried to make the case for war. See, this country was not designed to let a president or a president and an ally like Israel drag us into a war like this without asking the people's representatives first. Okay? The Constitution is very, very clear. Only Congress has the authority to declare war. The Constitution says that only the House, the people's representatives, are the ones who can do that. That was not an accidental thing in the Constitution. It was there because the founders experienced what it looks like when one person can take a country to war without oversight. Every person within the sound of my voice, know that president didn't go to Congress and ask Congress to go to war. Every person knows that he didn't ask Congress to go to war. That's why they're trying to do war power resolutions right now. It's too late. He never went and made the case for the United. No, I don't want us to be in war. I don't give a damn what I don't want us to be in war. Every Republican president has taken us to war in some capacity or another. Every Republican president, everyone. Okay, everyone. And when they did limited military action, whenever they did limited military action, they all drew heat for that. No, Black Wolf, you're not gonna gaslight us. We don't get to be gaslighted. We ain't like that. We understand exactly what's happening. Everybody understands exactly what this president is doing. Okay. The founding father said we're not supposed to be at war unless you ask the people. They wrote that line in blood. They wrote it in history, and we have ignored those guardrails too many goddamn times when it comes to this president. Now we have a situation here in the White House announcing a mass bombardment and regime-targeted campaign without waiting for congressional approval. Without waiting for congressional approval. There was no emergency attack. There was no imminent threat that Congress debated for hours. There was no just action by this person. Okay? Action taken. Then explanations after the fact. No. When are they going to drag this person in front of Congress and hold them accountable? Donald Trump needs to be accountable for this. Okay? Donald Trump needs to be accountable for this. Okay? There was no imminent attack on American soil, not at all. If this was a direct and immediate threat that couldn't be stopped any other way, okay, then the appropriate place to make that case is the American people through Congress. Not through social media posts after the strikes have begun. Not that. We cannot have a system where one person or one alliance decides the fate of millions of people and only later tells the representatives of what they did. We can't have no representative like that. That's not democracy. That's not the republic we're supposed to be. Okay. That's a rogue nation with a big military. And that's exactly what we're doing right now. Exactly. If there was any kind of evidence that the Iranian regime was going to detonate nuclear weapons tomorrow, or that they were about to unleash a direct attack on American cities without warning. See, here's the thing. You all told us when y'all attacked them the last time that y'all had obliterated all of their nuclear capabilities. Y'all told us that. They told us that. I remember when the president came out. We devastated them. We took away all their shit. We went to their underground bunkers and we took care of all that. So now we worried about them now. Now we worried about the nuclear things now when you told us that you all were done. You told us that you had obliterated all of that. Mm-hmm. That don't make no sense. Either you was lying then or you lying now. Which one is it? Either you were lying then or you were lying now. Okay.
Oh, and I do not make this statement lightly. The Iranian regime seeks to kill. The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war, but we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future, and it is a noble mission. We pray for every service member as they selflessly risk their lives to ensure that Americans and our children will never be threatened by a nuclear-armed Iran. We ask God to protect all of our heroes in harm's way, and we trust that with his help, the men and women of the armed forces will prevail. We have the greatest in the world, and they will prevail. To the members of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, the armed forces, and all of the police, I say tonight that you must lay down your weapons and have complete immunity, or in the alternative, face certain death. So lay down your arms. You will be treated fairly with total immunity, or you will face certain death. Finally, to the great proud people of Iran, I say tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand. Stay sheltered. Don't leave your home. It's very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere. When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. This will be probably your only chance for generations. For many,
What we saw was not that. We didn't see any kind of debate about this. People keep saying, well, we're tired of them saber rattling. That has nothing to do with anything. You're not supposed to have, see, and that's the arrogance. That's the arrogance of the United States. You feel like it was just going to be one day. One day, the Americans are so big and bad that they just going to take one day, and then that's all they're going to do is bomb, 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 and then we ain't got to worry about them, and then this ain't no war because it only took one day. You dumb motherfuckers. You dumb motherfuckers. Like somebody said in the chat, we already been in war, you retard. We were already at war, you small brain. Yeah, you dumb fuck. We've been at war. That's why he should have went to Congress and said we were going to be at war. Numb nuts. JT88JT, dummy. You the one who just made the case for everybody. You just said we were at war already. Y'all talk to JT88JT. That idiot just said we've been at war. So if we've been at war, he should have been done talked to the Congress. He should have been done made the case for the war. If that idiot is correct, the idiot got in the chat and just said, we've been at war already, you small brain. Okay, if we've been at war already, then idiot, we should have been to Congress and told Congress we were going to war. Y'all talk to him. Y'all talk to the P brain who just said that in the chat. Okay, you've been at war. So if you've been at war already, then you should have been to Congress and should have made the case. Even lying-ass Colin Powell went to goddamn Congress and made the goddamn case. Even though he was lying his ass off, he still went to Congress and made the goddamn case. Okay. But the idiot, your idiot in the chat, what's his JTAAJT? That idiot just said we've been at war. So go talk to him about war. He just said we at war. We've been at war. Just dumb. Just be saying any old thing. You either at war or you ain't at war. We at war. We've been at war. I'm gonna take the idiot's say. I'm gonna take his word for it. I'm gonna take JT's name. I'm gonna take his line. He the one said we at war. Y'all talk to him. He in the chat. Talk to his dumb ass.
many years you have asked for America's help, but you never got it. No president was willing to do what I am willing to do tonight. Now you have a president who is giving you what you want. So let's see how you respond. America is backing you with overwhelming strength and devastating force. Now is the time to seize control of your destiny and to unleash the prosperous and glorious future that is close within your reach.
But nobody's arguing about going to war. This is other countries that have gotten in the middle of it. He's bombed over in Qatar. He's hit Iran. He's hit Israel. Who knows what other country that Iran is going to decide that they're going to get into or fight or send a nuclear weapon to. Who knows? We don't know what the hell they're going to do. You backed him into a fucking corner. Okay? They backed him into a fucking corner. Who knows what he's going to do? And you say, oh, it's just going to be one day. We only going to be in war for one day. That's the arrogance of the United States. We cannot let this become normal. We cannot let this kind of, let's just go to war because we feel like it. I'm the president. Let us go to war because I feel like we can't let this become normal. When a president decides to go to war without the approval of Congress, without debate, without bringing the nation's elected representatives into the room, we are no longer a government of laws. We're a government of his impulses. And that's not how that's supposed to go. This is not about being pro or anti any particular, hey, you, Rainbow. This is not about being any kind of pro or anti policy or anything like that. This is about a process, legitimacy, and accountability. Okay? If the U.S. wanted to stand with Israel against an obvious threat, if America may have made that clear, if the Trump administration had went to Congress and made that clear, evidence-based case for a war, if Congress had authorized the action, then yeah, people across the world might have stood behind it. We might have stood behind it. Like I said, even that goddamn Colin Powell went in front of goddamn Congress and made the case for war. Even he went in there. Knowing he was lying, he went in there. That's what all I'm saying with this motherfucker right here. Y'all need to argue amongst each other, because half of y'all saying we at war and the other half saying we ain't at war. I'm saying because he's saying this is only going to be people pretending like this is just going to be a day we're going to be at war. Somebody call him. Wait a minute, hold on, let's finish.
This is the moment for action. Do not let it pass. May God bless the brave men and women of America's armed forces. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless you all. Thank you.
Hold on. These people mad.
I now give the floor to the representative of the Islamic Republic of Iran.
In the name of God, the compassionate and merciful, we appreciate the Secretary General for his briefing and his contribution to this meeting. We express our sincere appreciation to the Russian Federation and China for supporting the convening of this emergency meeting of the Security Council to address the manifest aggression committed by the United States and Israeli regime. I also thank those council members, in particular China, Pakistan, and the Russian Federation, who have today taken principled position in condemnation this unlawful act. And it is regrettable that some members of this body, in a blatant double standard, disregarded the flagrant act of aggression committed by the US and Israel on Iran and condemn Iran for using its inherent right to self-defense on the UN Charter. Mr. President, this morning the United States regime jointly and in coordination with the Israeli regime initiated an unprovoked and premeditated aggression against the Islamic Republic of Iran for the second time in the recent months, while deliberately attacking civilian populated areas in multiple large cities of Iran where millions of people reside. As a result of this brutal armed attack, hundreds of civilians have been killed and injured. The aggression and atrocious crime of the United States regime and the Israeli regime and the deliberate and persistent targeting of civilian infrastructure are going. In addition to the numerous civilian residential buildings, the aggressors have also targeted a school in the city of Minab, Hormozgan province.
He's saying that they targeted a school, that kids have been killed behind the attacks that the United States have made. He's telling you that kids have been killed.
Killing more than 100 children. The number of innocent civilians continues to rise. This is not only an act of aggression, it is a war crime and a crime against humanity. Yet today, once again, the representative of the United States, through a regrettable pattern, has attempted to distort facts and rely on misinformation to justify the blatant aggression of the United States and Israel against my country. The facts, however, are unequivocal. The justification advanced by the representative of the United States today are illegal and entirely devoid of legal foundation. The baseless allegation invoked to defend this unlawful use of force have no standing under international law. The invocation of preemptive attack claims of imminent threats or other substantiated political claims cannot legitimize aggression. Such claims are unfounded legally, morally, and politically, and they contradicted the clear principles of the Charter of the United Nations. I also categorically reject the assertion made by the representative of France, the United Kingdom, and certain other Western members regarding Iran's peaceful nuclear program. These claims lack a factual and legal basis. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the President of the United States and the Prime Minister of the Israeli regime have openly claimed responsibility for this act of aggression and have explicitly articulated regime change as their objective, an unmistakable admission of their intent to violate Iran's sovereignty and territorial integrity. The President of the United States has falsely described this aggression as necessary to neutralize an imminent threat to the American people. This is nothing more than a deliberate attempt to mislead the international community and the US public opinion and manufacture consent for unlawful war.
So he's saying that the president is lying about this act of aggression that he says that Iran is taking against the United States. He's saying that with Israel is basically putting him up to us. Him putting them up to, or Israel is putting us up to attacking them, even though they have no intention of attacking us. We don't know. The president is lying. We also know the president is lying. The president is lying. Everybody is probably lying. I know Israel's lying. Israel has wanted the United States to help them attack Iran for the longest time. We already know the agenda of Israel. Israel wants us to attack Iran, and they wanted America to be behind them. And then we just got in Israel. Netanyahu just found the right goofy to get behind him. So that's why he's there. That's why we're in the war. That's half the reason why we're in the war, is because they wanted us there. They all wanted us there.
Similarly, the representative of the United States has cynically sought to mislead this council, yet history provides ample documentation that the foreign policy of the United States has repeatedly relied on unlawful force, covert intervention, and political manipulation to alter the governments of other member states.
Now, let's listen to the American people. Is this where they make the case? Let's see. Is this where they're gonna make the case? Let's see. Because I don't know. Hold on.
Thank you, distinguished delegates. This is a moment in history that requires moral clarity, and President Trump has met the moment. The most fundamental duty of any sovereign government is the protection of its people. Operation Epic Fury is directed towards specific and strategic objectives: to dismantle missile capabilities that threaten allies, to degrade naval assets used to destabilize international waters, and to disrupt the machinery that arms proxy militias, and to ensure the Iranian regime never, ever can threaten the world with a nuclear weapon. As President Trump said last night, for decades, the Iranian regime has willfully destabilized the world. It has killed American forces and citizens, threatened regional allies, and jeopardized the security of international shipping upon which the world depends.
This is the same forum in which Colin Powell came and made the case for weapons of mass destruction when George Bush ordered the war against Iraq. This is the same forum in which he's making the case. Walsh is making the case for war in Iran.
its massive support for violent proxies, declared terrorist organizations, the Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas, and others, has brought bloodshed and disorder across the Middle East for far too long. This is not speculation. We know this to be true, and our men and women have paid for the actions of this regime and the IRGC with their lives. No responsible nation can ignore persistent aggression and violence. The regime in Tehran has led attacks that have cost American lives, hundreds of U.S. Marines in Lebanon, thousands of troops in Iraq. American hostage after hostage has suffered. Our ships fired upon dozens of times in the Red Sea. Iran has armed and financed militant organizations that undermine lawful governments and destabilize an already fragile region. Iran's continued pursuit of advanced missile capabilities, coupled with its refusal to abandon nuclear ambitions despite diplomatic opportunities, presents a grave and mounting danger. The international community has long affirmed a simple and necessary principle: Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. That principle is not a matter of politics, it's a matter of global security. And to that end, the United States is taking lawful actions. This body, the United States Security Council, has acted repeatedly on this threat. 20 years ago, starting in 2006, Resolution 1696 demanded that Iran suspend all uranium enrichment related and reprocessing activities, invoking Chapter 7 of the UN Charter and adopting a legally binding resolution. When Iran failed to comply, this council followed with Resolution 1737, imposing mandatory sanctions, including bans on nuclear-related materials and technology, asset freezes on key individuals and entities linked to their nuclear program, and establishing a sanctions committee. Subsequent resolutions, 1747 in the year 2007, expanded arms embargoes and asset freezes. Resolution 1803 in 2008 tightened restrictions on dual-use goods and calling for the inspections of Iranian cargo. Resolution 1835 in 2008 reaffirmed the need for full compliance. And Resolution 1927 in 2010, which was the most comprehensive, banning ballistic missile activities, tightening the conventional arms embargo, targeting the IRGC and shipping lines, and prohibiting new Iranian banking relationships, built a robust multilateral framework to curb Iran's nuclear and missile pursuits. These measures, again, adopted under Chapter 7, represented the world's collective judgment that Iran's actions posed a threat to international peace and security. And despite numerous opportunities for an alternative path, Iran remained defiant. And the Security Council decided on September 19th of last year, 2025, to restore these measures, snapback sanctions, sending a clear message that the world will not acquiesce to threats and half measures, and Tehran would be held to account. On top of these actions by the UN, American diplomacy was attempted repeatedly and in good faith. President Trump, Secretary Rubio, our special envoys, Witkoff and Kushner, were relentlessly dedicated to diplomacy. But diplomacy cannot succeed where there is no genuine willingness to cease aggression, where there is no genuine partner for peace. As President Trump said today, and he spoke directly to the Iranian people, he said, quote, "To the proud, great people of Iran, I saw tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand. The entire world has witnessed the regime's wholesale slaughter of innocent civilians. The sad irony is that this same regime will attempt to lecture us today about human rights and the rule of law. Its presence here in this council makes a mockery of this body. But where the UN lacks moral clarity, the United States of America will maintain it. Indiscriminate and unprovoked attacks by the Iranian regime today against our regional partners, Kuwait, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Qatar, Jordan, and others, reinforce precisely why such actions are necessary. The regime has not only struck military assets, but civilian infrastructure as well.
Okay, in retaliation for United States and Israel shooting into Iran, Iran attacked American military sites in those several countries that he just spoke of. There's been attacks in those military sites, or American military sites in those countries.
Those who stand with us must know that their security is not negotiable. The safety of our allies is not conditional. It is assured. The bottom line is this, colleagues: our allies and partners can count on the United States and can count on President Trump. Colleagues, peace is not preserved by appeasing those who threaten it. Peace is preserved through strength in the face of terror. History has taught us that the cost of inaction is far greater than the burden of decisive action. And our president, President Trump, has taken that decisive action today. I thank you.
That's United States, I guess, making the case for war. Is Israel? This is Israel. Let me see. Right here. What does Israel have to say?
For 47 years, the Islamic regime in Iran has led crowds in chanting, March bar Israel, March bar America. Mr. Iravani, do you want to translate these chants? Your leaders have been chanting it for years in public events, in your parliament. March bar Israel, March bar America. They mean death to Israel, death to America.
So that's what they've been chanting in Iran. And now you've been campaigning for that ass whooping, so now you finna get it. Basically, that's what he's saying. Your people have been chanting death to Israel and death to Americans. So now we over here. Now we in the middle. We in the fight. Don't be crying because it's two of us, because you've been calling both of us over there to whoop our ass. We over there to get our ass whooped. Let's get to it.
Israeli and American flags were painted on roads so they could be trampled. Our flags were burned in public squares. This is not the anger of a radical fringe. It is state-sanctioned hatred. And while those March bar chants echoed, uranium was enriched, centrifuges span, missiles were built, facilities were buried deep underground. It was never just empty rhetoric. It was preparation for action. But today, alongside our ally, the United States, we act to stop it. Israel stands before you today, having acted with the United States to confront and stop an existential threat before it became irreversible. The operation targets nuclear infrastructure, ballistic missile sites, the machinery of repression that fuels terror across our region. We did not act of impulse. We did not act of aggression. We acted out of necessity because the Iranian regime left no reasonable alternative. This joint effort will continue for as long as the threat remains. We thank President Trump and acknowledge the close cooperation between Israel and the US, which has brought the alliance between our countries to an all-time high in peace and in war. Let us be clear about what we are confronting. This regime has built nuclear weapons in blatant disregard of international law and UN resolutions. It has brutally murdered its own citizens and crushed dissent. It's happened now as we speak in cities in Iran. It has expanded missile arsenals and armed proxies across the region. It has openly declared its intention to erase Israel from the map. Now, as it faces consequences, it is launching missiles and drones across the region, endangering the UAE, where a Pakistani citizen, unfortunately, was killed. Jordan, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, Iraq. As we speak, in the last hour, a rocket targeted the city of Tel Aviv. Civilians, they don't target military bases. Civilians struck a building in Tel Aviv. An innocent woman was killed and 21 people were injured. This is a regime that destabilizes wherever it reaches. It spreads violence outward while crushing freedom at home. It is not reacting, it is expanding. It is a machinery of radicalism that does not recognize borders.
See, let's talk about the fact that the Iranian leaders are condemning the United States right now. Of course they are. Of course they're condemning the United States. Of course they are. Somebody just attacked their homeland. Ordinary citizens, people that had nothing to do with this war. People are being attacked in their country. I get all of that. But here's the thing. You guys have been acting aggressively for a long time. This is not about whether Iran condemns it, anybody condemns them, anybody doesn't like it. Governments condemn each other all the time about these kind of things. The real issue is whether we hand them an easy argument. This isn't about pro-war or anti-war. If there was a legitimate case for military action against Iran, then make the case. Make that case. Lay out the intelligence. Present the threat. Bring it before Congress. Debate it publicly. Vote on it. That's how this country is supposed to function. This is how we're supposed to function. The Constitution gives Congress the authority to declare war. Not the president alone. And after Vietnam, after presidents stretched authority into a decade-long war that divided this country, Congress passed the War Powers Resolution Act of 1973, specifically to stop unilateral drifting into extended military conflict, which this president seems to think he's going to drag us into. That wasn't theoretical. That was a reaction to executive overreach. That's why we got the War Powers Resolution in 1973 now. We've seen that pattern. In Vietnam, the Gulf of Tonkin resolution started as a limited authorization and turned into a full-scale war that Congress never reined in. In Iraq, in 2003, Congress did authorize force, but the case was flawed. It was rushed. Intelligence was faulty, and consequences lasted for 20 years. Libya, 2011, with Obama, military action began under the banner of, some kind of humanitarian protection or some shit, but it slid into regime change without a clear long-term plan or formal declaration of war. And Syria, strikes were launched repeatedly under the jurisdiction of limited scope, right? But without a clear congressional declaration. We can't have that. We can't continue to have that kind of thing. Each time presidents from both parties have stretched executive authority in the name of urgency and security and alliance obligations. And each time Congress has slowly ceded that ground. That's the real danger right there when we allow military escalation to happen first, like we're doing right now, and constitutional authorization to become an afterthought. After they get done doing it, then we give them the permission. We normalize executive war making. That's why Donald Trump did what he did. He did it because y'all motherfuckers didn't say nothing before. You didn't stop Obama. You didn't stop Bush. You didn't stop nobody. So we drift. not in one dramatic jump. We not doing it. We drifting, because a lot of y'all making the case in the damn chat. Oh no, we ain't at war. This is limited. This is some limited operation. We ain't at war. Don't worry about it. That's exactly what some of y'all saying. It's the same play as that George Bush made, same play that Obama made, same thing. If this conflict in Iran was necessary, then it deserved congressional authorization. If it was all that in a bag of chips, if it was like you said it was, if it was like the Trump administration saying it is, then it deserved congressional authorization. If it was urgent, Congress can make that move quickly. They could have did that. We could have seen the emergency sessions before it happened. But acting first and consulting later just arose that whole system. Okay, and the War Powers Resolution is there to prevent that rash run to war. This ain't about sympathy for Iran, so y'all need to shut the hell up. It's about discipline for ourselves. Because once we abandon that whole process, we don't just weaken our moral position, we weaken our whole structural legitimacy. And legitimacy is what separates the constitutional republic from the raw power of somebody like Iran anyway. We can't claim to defend democracy abroad while bypassing democratic procedures at home. So the war resolution exists for moments like this, when emotions are high, when allies are involved, when retaliation feels immediate. That is when the guardrails matter the most. This issue isn't about whether Iran condemns us. They will condemn us. It is what it is. They're getting their ass whooped. You campaigned for the ass whooping, and now y'all getting it. The issue is whether we followed our own rules before lighting that damn match. Because once we stop following those rules, history shows where that leads to. Obama with the 2011 in Libya, and George Bush 2003 with Iraq. That's where it may lead. People keep saying, no, this ain't no long war. This ain't no long war. We don't know what the fuck this is. We didn't want to get started on it. That's the whole point. We didn't want to get started on this. But here we are. Here we are.
Mr. President, diplomacy was exhausted. Iran was required to stop enriching uranium, stop heavy water projects, stop developing nuclear-capable missiles, and allow full inspections. Iran did none of it. Instead, it fortified its nuclear facilities so we cannot get to them, accelerated missile production, and continued to fund terror. Since the last operation in the summer, they spent billions on the proxies. The resolutions were clear. The strategy was just as clear. Delay, delay, delay. But we will not be played. And it's simple what they were planning. They were building the means to corner us, to force an irreversible reality with our backs against the wall. That is not a future Israel will accept. No responsible nation should. This operation is guided by clear objectives: eliminate immediate threats, dismantle the nuclear program, destroy its ballistic missile production, neutralize naval threats, break the proxy network that destabilizes the region. The operation was carried out in order to protect the people of Israel within the framework of the ongoing armed conflict between Israel and Iran, in line with the UN Charter and in accordance with international law. Our forces stand ready to stop extremism armed with nuclear weapons. To the soldiers of the IDF, our boys and girls, my son, my daughter, we salute you. You stand like lions defending our people. An entire nation stands behind you. We have heard the condemnation from few member states, from the Secretary General, but we all know that escalation did not begin today. It began when Iran armed proxies and exported terror. expanded missiles and drones, advanced its nuclear program in violation of its commitments, turned on its own people, beating, imprisoning, executing. Where was the outrage of the UN? Where were the consequences? Now, Israel acts to prevent an irreversible threat, and the condemnation is immediate. This is the definition of hypocrisy. Some call this aggression. We call it necessity. We call it survival. Mr. President, history has taught us never to ignore those who openly call for our destruction. When a regime says it will destroy Israel, when it chants death to Israel, when it promises to wipe Haifa and Tel Aviv off the map, we believe it. We genuinely believe it when we see those hundreds of ballistic missiles that they are launching to Israel. We believe the threats. We do not ignore them. We do not gamble with our survival. We act. Now let me address the brave people of Iran. You are not our enemies. This operation is not directed at you. It is directed at a regime that has silenced you, imprisoned you, and invested in missiles and uranium while your economy suffers. You deserve better. It is this regime, the Basij, the Revolutionary Guard, who have dragged your country into isolation. The world does not fear a free Iran. It fears a radical regime armed with nuclear weapons and driven by extremism. Your future should not be defined by those who chant for death. As President Trump has said, the Iranian people deserve dignity, security, and the chance to shape their own destiny.
You know what? I mean, I get it. But you know, I'm one of those people. I'm one of those newfangled people. I ain't really paid attention to Israel because it's not my country and it's not where I was from. Every time I hear something from somebody, the Israeli people, it's always whining about we need to have our debt. We have to, we have the right to exist. Nobody is saying you don't have the right to exist. I don't know where that line comes from. Maybe that was something years ago that people used to say, well, they don't have the right to exist. Nobody's saying that now. I mean, I just don't have time for the victim mentality of you don't have the right to exist. You've always had the right to exist as far as the United States is concerned. Either way, I'm not getting into that goofy shit. It's like a victim mentality to me. I'm just not understanding what's going on with that. Okay. But here's the thing. Before anything else, we have to be clear about one thing. We never saw no evidence that Iran was on the verge of attacking the United States. I never saw no evidence of it. Okay, maybe it was somewhere. Maybe they made the case at some other time, but they didn't make the case to us. Okay, maybe he's making the case at this meeting he was, but we never saw it. We were supposed to see it before you ran into this whole fire of fighting. We were supposed to see it. The United States and Israeli governments have repeatedly said that Iran's missiles and nuclear programs pose a threat. They've said that for years and years and years. They never did it. They never attacked us. Okay. President Trump and Israeli leaders have argued that Iran's buildup of ballistic missiles and its regional influence have to be countered before they can act. Okay, so this is a preemptive strike. So we finna strike you because we think y'all finna do something. Okay. But notice this is how it was done. There was no public unveiling of classified intelligence that said that they was finna attack us. There was nothing like that. There was no joint congressional briefing that said there was no clear set of evidence presented to the American people that showed Iran had made an imminent threat or imminent attack, was going to have an imminent attack against the United States. or Israel before these strikes even began. So y'all attacked them first. Y'all hit them first, okay? Which meant you should have went to the Congress first and made your case. You should have made the case. Wait a minute. X, Y, and Z is finna happen. X, Y, and Z is finna happen. Y'all didn't say nothing. Y'all just said, oh, okay, let's jump our ass out there and start attacking folks. It'd be a different story if they all attacked us and we didn't know. We attacked us and then we had to go retaliate. Okay, we can understand that. But y'all didn't have, there was nothing that said that these people was finna attack us. Y'all just decided y'all was gonna go out there and attack them first. That's not how it's supposed to work. Constitution gives Congress the authority to declare war, not the president, not by himself, not quietly behind closed doors. So if Iran had been an active moving to fire missiles at the United States or Israel tomorrow, then the case should have been made public right then with evidence in Congress so that lawmakers could have debated. Okay. Instead, what happened is the months of tension, diplomacy, failed negotiations were swept aside in favor of military action. Publicly, the justification remains framed as preemptive. We had no choice. We had no choice. No, you had a choice. That's where I part ways with you people saying he should have did this firing. No, you had a choice. Before you struck, you could have went to Congress and said, we got to handle this, but you didn't do that. You just jumped out there. No, that's wrong.
Thinking about you. You are seen. You are not alone. The future of Iran belongs to its people. We stand with you. Mr. President, this week, Jewish families all around the world celebrate Purim. Many Israelis will do so now in a bomb shelter. The story of Purim happened more than 2,500 years ago in the same place. In ancient Persia, an evil minister by the name of Haman sought to wipe out the Jewish people. And it began with words, with chants. It became a decree. It could have become a genocide. But Queen Esther refused to remain silent. She stepped forward. She spoke up. She acted before it was too late. That is the lesson we learned. It is not only an ancient lesson, it is a modern one. Last week, I stood at the gates of Auschwitz with dozens of UN ambassadors. We stood in a place that shows what happens when radicalism and extremism grows and no one stops it in time. Before the Holocaust, some leaders, serious leaders, believed that they could calm aggression with concessions. They were completely wrong. Giving in did not stop evil. It strengthened it. Winston Churchill understood what Queen Esther understood long before him. When destruction is declared and weapons are being prepared and assembled, leaders must act, not later, now. Today, President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu understand that same lesson. For decades, the Iranian regime has built missiles, enriched uranium, armed proxies, and spread terror far beyond its borders. This regime is not only Israel's enemy.
I got a question. Why is it that Israel needed United States? Why did you need to wait for the United? If Iran is doing all this saber rattling, Iran is doing all this, Iran is selling all these wolf tickets. If Iran is selling all these wolf tickets, why didn't you, Israel, why didn't you go over there and whoop that ass then? Why did you have to drag the United States into y'all Middle Eastern piss contest? Why'd y'all have to drag us into it? Why your ass didn't go over there and put your shit over there? I don't understand. Y'all talking big shit. You Israelis talking big shit. Only because you got America standing behind you. No, motherfuckers, y'all go over there and y'all do y'all thing. Stop pulling us into the middle of all of y'all's conflict. We don't want to be in the middle of y'all shit. We don't want to be in the middle of none of y'all shit. We want to mind our own over here. But every time one of y'all want to get into a fight, you want to drag the United States. We just happen to get a goofy ass president that want to do that shit, who want to be a warmonger. See, that's the thing that half y'all didn't understand. Y'all didn't understand that y'all was dealing with a president that was already unhinged and who liked to stick his chest out anyway. Y'all already was dealing with a president that wanted to do this shit anyway. See, and this may be one of the good things or one of the bad, that we don't know how this is going to play out. All I'm saying to you is, I don't want to be fighting nobody in no war. I didn't sign up for my president to be trying to protect Israel at the detriment of American people. I didn't sign up for every time you get a bee in your bonnet, my president gonna say, yeah, let's jump behind him. We gonna be the butt. We gonna be the bully. We gonna be the bully right behind you. No, motherfucker. If you Israel, if you want to fight with Iran, let's do heads up, dukes up. Go on over there, dukes up. Okay, you and Iran go back and forth. You bad enough. Look, I don't know how big Israel is. I don't know what the capabilities are on each side. All I'm saying is, you got enough, you big and bad enough to talk that shit. Go over there and get you some. You and Iran, y'all gonna do what y'all gotta do. And let them people handle what the hell they need to handle. Okay? Let the Middle Eastern people handle whatever they need to handle. Stop pulling us in the middle of y'all shit. I don't want to be in no war with no Iran. They ain't finna come over here and start none. It's a different story if you came over here starting that shit. Iran don't have no weapons distance enough to get to the United States. So we're not worried about you no more. We're not worried about you like that. If you came over here and started some shit, we'll handle you. But stop fighting wars with everybody because somebody said, oh, you are allies, so we need you to help us fight Iran. No. That ain't how it used to be back in the day. Back in the day is, if you wanted to go to war with Iran, take your monkey ass over there, and either you gonna win or you gonna lose. Don't keep pulling us into your shit. This is what I don't like. I don't see, the honest to God truth is, I don't care about going to war. I go to war for America all day. You come over and attack us or you do anything like that, we gonna go over there and whoop that ass. But I ain't trying to be in no war with no Ukraine, no Russia, because Ukraine is over there talking shit, or with Israel, because Israel over there talking shit, getting into a war with Iran. I ain't trying to do all that. This is America first. You threaten us, then we gonna go over there and take care of that ass. But we ain't going over there for you, and you. You depleting our resources. You're depleting what we got going on. Because we over there dealing with your shit. I ain't heard no Iran over there. I ain't heard Iran say jack shit about United States. I ain't heard Billy go peep out they motherfucking ass. They might be over there threatening Iraq and Iran, and they might be over there threatening Israel and all that. Shut your ass up, Israel. Go over there and do your fighting. Don't be putting your chest out talking about, I got America behind me, so I'm gonna talk shit to Iran. No. Back in the day, you had to go over there and you had to fight your people against my people. Okay. No, I don't want to be in no fight with nobody. It is what it is. Don't nobody want to be in a fight with nobody else. But I see we done got caught up yet again in another war with somebody else that we don't have no business being in no war with.
table. Thank you.
Hold on.
What comes next? Iran must never be allowed to attain a nuclear weapon, but the American people do not want another endless and costly war in the Middle East when there are so many problems at home. The administration has not provided Congress and the American people with critical details about the scope and immediacy of the threat, confronting Iran's malign regional activities, nuclear.
I don't know why it's playing.
A live look here from the tweet commenting, committed Democrat here. I'm a hard no, he
So,
says, on this
I'm
war
finna,
powers vote. My vote is Operation Epic Fury, which is.
So I'm finna put you guys on that, what is it, phone. We gonna open up that shit. We gonna open up the phone lines, and I want to have somebody call in and say, what the hell is going on? What do you want to say about this war? Hold on. Let me put this behind here. I gotta put this behind. Okay. I want to find out, how do people feel about this? Should we be in a war? Should we be in a prolonged war? That's the question. Should people be in a prolonged war? Should we worry about it? I got to change this whole setting because people won't be able to see the cue. Okay, here we go. Let me change it to that. Do we or should we be in a war? Somebody call me. Wait a minute. Can y'all see that number? Hold on. Can y'all see that number? Hopefully you can see that number. Somebody want to call in because I want to hear what somebody got to say. Why? You're a spokesperson for Iran. Oh, no, I don't know who's a spokesperson for Iran, but I don't believe in us going to war for no fucking reason. Not for other people. Not for other people when it don't make no sense. Okay, hold on. One day he delivered. One day we got to go back and forth. Somebody give me a call. This is a viewer reaction.
Is the name of this military operation. Beth in Fairport, New York.
It's unbelievable. I'm not surprised we're in this mess. And I just, I do pray for peace. But, you've got one person that has all this power, and you've got all these people with lots and lots and lots of money that are supporting him.
All right, Beth, I'm going to go to Anessa, who's in Mooresville, Indiana, Republican. You're next. And your thoughts on U.S. and Israeli strikes on Iran.
I believe that they should not have nuclear weapons. They've done enough destruction to their own people and to their surrounding states that they need help. And, the Israelis are God's chosen people, and we need to support them and be there for them, along protect our own family. So, do you want a nuclear weapon coming into your household because, Trump's a pedophile? I mean, come on. What does that got to do with the price of anything? Nothing. What matters right now is our country's safety because of Iran's threat.
All right, Anessa, the leader of.
Yeah, but the thing is, do we have Iran's threat? Is Iran actually threatening us? Is Iran actually threatening us, or is that just something you think is going on? I don't call them threatening us. I haven't heard anything, but maybe they are. I don't know.
Of the Democratic Party in the Senate, Chuck Schumer, putting out a statement saying, when I talked to Secretary Rubio calling the so-called gang.
Can you all hear that radio?
Gang of 8, that's the leadership and the top Republicans and Democrats on the House and Senate Intel committees. He said when he talked to him during that phone call, I implored him to be straight with Congress and the American people about the objectives of these strikes and what comes next. Iran must.
I don't understand. When did they start threatening the United States? When did they start doing that? After that, we sent missiles over there and did all of that. Iran, as far as I understand, Iran only threatened Israel. They didn't threaten the American. They didn't threaten America. See, I don't like going to war for nobody unless they done threatened us. And I didn't hear about them threatening us.
Must never be allowed to attain a nuclear weapon, but the American people do not want another endless and costly war in the Middle East when there are so many problems at home. The administration has not provided Congress and the American people with critical details about the scope and immediacy of the threat, confronting Iran's malign regional activities, nuclear ambitions, and harsh oppression of the.
That killed 240 member as
What he did was a beautiful.
Call from Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna on the House side to do the same in that chamber. Do you agree? Should members of Congress be back here in Washington? We'll get your take on all of that here.
Yes, that's my whole point. New Hampshire, they've been chanting death to America for over 30 years. It ain't happened. Now it's time to threaten. Now it's time to attack them because somebody else got behind the United States, or the United States got behind somebody and wanted to have a fight. Now they've been threatening us for 30 years. So what changed between 30 years and today? That's what the whole point. That's the whole point. What the hell changed between now and 30 years ago, New Hampshire, or whatever?
This afternoon. Also want to let you know that we will have live coverage of an emergency UN Security Council meeting that is happening today in New York, 4 p.m. Eastern Time.
Okay.
Just 249 years old. The Persian Empire was founded over two. Tricia, what is your message
Yes,
to Washington?
hi. Thank you for taking my call. And I love what Donald Trump has done. And the last two men are, unfortunately, very delusional. Donald Trump did what he needed to do to eliminate the threat. He cares about America. He's not in it for power or money. And the Democrats.
Oh, we got a delusional phone call on our hand.
Are very scary. They're very evil, scary people. And people better really pay attention. And it's also important to see when people call in, I would get their age, because what the colleges have done, they've brainwashed our children into being liberal. And Donald Trump, what he did was a beautiful thing. You eliminate the threat. Now we can live in peace. And these just Democrats, they are evildoers, and it's very.
So y'all see that? You know, we gonna see how many times we hear the word evil. We're gonna see how many times we hear the word evil. That's wild. That's wild. You Republicans say the same thing. Us Democrats are evil. That's wild.
Sad. And if they're not happy here, why don't they move to Iran? Yeah, you can go to Iran. You can leave America, because we have so many people, haters that are from America. I just don't get it.
All right, Tricia.
You don't get it because you're dumb, but you don't get it because your president just took us to war. You didn't make the case for war. You got people like New Hampshire talking about for 30 years they've made threats against America. What's the difference between 29 years and this year? What's the difference? There is no difference. You were supposed to make the case. President didn't make the case. That's the point.
Tricia there in Florida, a Republican caller, Dmitry Medvedev, who was the president of Russia and now serves on its Security Council, an aide, an advisor to Russian President Putin. The peacekeeper is at it again. The talks with Iran were just a cover. Everyone knew that. So who has more patience to wait for the enemy's sorry?
Wait a minute, hold on. The peacekeeper is at it again. Talking about Donald Trump with his goofy ass. That's what we talking about. The talks with Iran were just a cover. They were just a cover. Why is he saying that? This used to be the president of Russia. Everyone knew that. So who has more patience to wait for the enemies to carry? I can't read it.
And now,
Sorry.
The U.S. is just 249 years old. The Persian Empire was founded over 2,500 years ago. Let's see what happens in 100 years or so.
Meaning we're going to be here long after this president is gone. We're going to be here long after that.
In New Mexico and Independent, go ahead with your thoughts.
Hey, Greta, thank you for taking my call. I mean, people forget that, Iran's been, behind every scheme and plot to bring down the U.S. And I think eliminating the threat is what Trump's doing.
I couldn't even begin to tell you why is it that us liberals are the deranged ones when conservatives keep calling Trump king and daddy? I don't know. They sound goofy as hell to me.
Like I said, I'm independent. I speak freely. I was in the military myself. You know, I served 12 years. You know, and it's just one of these things where you eliminate the threat, and you know, and that's what he's doing. You know,
and people keep saying there's a threat. Where is the threat? What threat did he give? What threat did Iran give to us, U.S.? Somebody please explain what threat that didn't happen, that happened, that was different from the last 30 years. Somebody explain to me what that threat was. I also opened up the phone lines. Nobody want to call in and say anything about it. We got 15 more minutes. Otherwise, we're going to close up shop at in 15 minutes. If nobody wants to call, we're going to close up shop at 11:30. Apparently, you can't. I can read just fine, Goofy. I've been reading since I was 3 years old. I read just fine.
Democrats are anything to wage anything against Trump. I think it's sad that, you know, this man's doing the best he can for the U.S. and I think Iran has a big stake in what's going on in this world, and you know the threat in the Middle East. I think, and eliminating that threat and putting them back in line, I think is what needs to be done.
Okay. All right. Caller in New Mexico, independent, and Senator Patty Murray.
See, we all over the board. Everybody all over the board with what they see. I don't object to war. I just don't want war just because Israel said, oh, they're threatening us and the America's our ally, so America got to go to war with us. No, fuck that. Fuck that. Do what you got to do. We'll back you up. We ain't finna be the first one. We'll back your ass up and we'll help you. We'll give you weapons. We'll give you ammunition, but we ain't finna be in the middle of no fucking war. Cause y'all want us to be in the middle. Y'all want us to lead with the war. No, y'all get y'all's ass over there. Y'all take some fucking losses first. Don't put us on the front line. Don't make our people take the losses first. If you want to fight with Iran, y'all take y'all's ass over there and do what you got to do. If we see that y'all losing, then we'll come help y'all. But don't pull us into this shit. That's wild. That we the first ones across the fucking land. We the first ones across the fucking fucking fighting line because Israel or Ukraine or anybody else done said, oh, let's be the first. Y'all, our allies, so y'all got to be the first one. Y'all got to help. No. Back in the day, there was alliances that were made, but you need to do what you got to do instead of looking us in the eyeball every time you want to get into a fight with Iran. Come on, Netanyahu brought his black ass. Netanyahu brought his black ass over here talking about, hey, Trump, you got to help us get Iran. Iran is threatening Iran is bullying us. But Iran ain't doing jack shit. Iran is doing what the fuck they doing, and they land. They ain't jumped out of pocket yet. Y'all want to jump out there and hit their ass first. We can't be doing that. We can't be doing that with every country that wants our help. We can't be doing that. What if something jumped off in another country? We be over here helping Israel when we shouldn't even be over here helping Israel. What if something legit jumped off in our country? We can't help y'all. We can't keep helping y'all. That's it. That's all I'm saying. We can't keep helping these people. Y'all got to stand on your own 2 feet. You talk shit, you go over there and get your ass whooped. That's the way it go.
Murray, Democrat of Washington State, saying Congress must return immediately and vote to put an end to this war. Every senator should be on the record. The American people deserve to know which of their leaders supports another potentially bloody and costly war in the Middle East. No war with Iran, is what she says. Linda in Hawaii, Democratic caller. Linda, what do you say?
First of all, I want to let Patty know that I'm 70. Okay, I'm a Democrat. I'm 70 years old. I'm not a kid and liberal in college. I love my country. I'm
not saying that Israel wouldn't. I'm not saying they wouldn't have our back. I'm saying It's a different story if you brought your ass over here and threw a rock in my window, and I'm not strong enough to pick the rock up and throw it back at you, then I would go get America to throw the rock at you because I'm not strong enough to do it. But I don't get to call America call America and then go throw a rock in your window and you ain't did shit. You over there talking shit in your yard, but you ain't came over here and did nothing to me yet. But you don't get to call America to help you start a war, help you fight. That's wild.
Have no feelings for Iran or Israel. Neither country to me they have terrible leadership. I'm not with them, just so you know. I beg the Republican Party, this is just begging the Republican Party to come back to Congress and pass the War Powers Act. This is an unchecked president. He is unchecked power. He's not collaborating with anybody to make good decisions. He's making them on his own. And he is very sick. He's mentally ill. All he talks about is obliteration, blood. If you looked at it, listen to his State of the Union address, it was actually very violent. Wait
a minute, do y'all hear that radio? Put one in the chat. Let me know you hear that radio. Because I'm like playing it and listening. Do y'all hear it? Put the one in the chat because I wasn't sure.
Rhetoric is violent. He seems to get pleasure. He smiled when he was talking about blood. I'm very disturbed by this. I don't want another forever war. I'm done. I'm 70 years old. I've been fighting war since Nixon, and I'm tired of this. This is over.
That's how I feel. Why the hell are we back into another? Wait a minute, hold on. We done shot and attacked Iran 2 times. 2 times on behalf of somebody else. 2 times on behalf of somebody else. Come on, don't do that. We trying to straighten out. Wait a minute. Our nation is in shambles. Our nation is in shambles. We in war. We can't afford the fucking groceries. We can't fucking afford no health care. We can't afford nothing. And we going over there trying to help somebody fight in a war. This nation is in shambles. This president has brought this nation to shambles, all within 1 year and a half. We got shit going on 1 year and a half in, and can't nobody afford nothing. And yet, look what closing the borders did. I don't understand. I don't understand how the fuck you think closing the borders help this country pull it to the brink of this destruction that we at. Okay, I don't understand how you think we winning. Anybody winning and they can't afford no groceries. They can't fucking afford no house. They can't afford to buy no car. I don't understand how you think we winning in any way, shape, or form. Okay, that's wild to me.
Over again, done. The American people do not want this war.
Linda's thoughts there in Hawaii. Democrat Senator Tom Tillis, who is retiring from the Senate, Republican from North Carolina, posting, the Iranian regime has spent decades as the world's leading sponsor of terrorism, systematically destabilizing the Middle East while calling for the death of America. President Trump has rightfully determined that this theocratic dictatorship cannot be allowed to acquire nuclear weapons and continue to slaughter its own citizens who simply want freedom. I expect all members of Congress will soon be briefed about Operation Epic Fury and determine whether a broader scope and further military action requires an authorization of Congress.
And there you go. I believe in the same thing. Go make your goddamn case. Make your case for war. Don't go to war. Make your case for war. Because somebody in the chat said to me, we've been at war. Okay, so we've been at war. So why ain't you went and made the case for war? 2, if we've been at war for 30 years, what was the immediate threat that told you to go and start a war yesterday? What happened yesterday that didn't happen last week? What happened yesterday that didn't happen 2 years ago? What happened? And why didn't you say, and my whole thing is, why didn't you make a case? Why didn't you make the case to Congress? If it took 30 years, all these years to be dealing with threats, why did it say you wanted to have why did it say you needed to go to war right now? You needed to strike right now. Bull motherfucking shit. Because right here, you lying ass motherfuckers, you said you didn't want Iran to get no nuclear weapons. Now, you told us a couple months ago that you decimated their whole supply. Their whole supply to make nuclear weapons. You said you decimated all of that. You went under the ground and got all them and you just went there and you just whooped that ass a couple months ago. That's what y'all said. Y'all said y'all went and looked at them underground bunkers and y'all destroyed all them underground bunkers and they were obliterated. That's what the fuck y'all told us. So was y'all lying now or y'all lying then? Which one was it? Because apparently if you had decimated them back when you said you did, they wouldn't be able to make no nuclear weapons now. They wouldn't have the capabilities of making it now. Because you, according to you, had took care of all that a couple months ago. So which one was it? Are you lying now or you lying then? You lying now or you lying then because you lied about one of them. Let's be clear. You lied about one of them. Okay? I don't mind no war, but don't lie to me and get me into no damn war. Like Colin Powell got us into that goddamn 2003 with Iraq. Don't lie to me about no fucking war or getting into a war. You either lied back then when you said you decimated all of their nuclear weapons and their capabilities, or you're lying now. Because what you're saying is they can't be allowed to acquire no nuclear weapon. And if you decimated them back then, that means they ain't able to make no weapons. No, I don't think my mama lied about who my daddy was. My mama and daddy was married for 45 years. Shut your ass up.
We owe a profound debt of gratitude to the men and women of our armed forces and our coalition partners. Carl in Braintree, Massachusetts, a Republican. Carl, what do you say?
Hey there, how are you? I guess I'd have to look at it from a standpoint of, if you're not familiar with the situation, Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, these are all terrorist organizations within the Middle East that have been funded by Iran for the better part of 10 years. And so if you take the politics out of it, which is obviously a difficult thing to do, and you look back at the situation, if it was not Donald Trump who's in the spot, the IAEA this week gave a report that said, since the last attack, and some gentleman said it was 2 months ago, it was back in June that Israeli and the U.S. attacked Iran the first time. It's been 7 months. The IAEA this week said there has not been one opportunity of Iran to show what they've been doing. I know obviously they've made some destruction and they have untracked uranium, and the IAEA has been asking for 7 months, show us there isn't any, show us there is. And they haven't answered at all. So this is not just a Donald Trump situation. The UN-sponsored IAEA has said they're not giving us any information whatsoever. Now, their facilities might obviously take years to get back from the destruction back in June, but this is not just a decision that was made by Trump doing his own thing. These are, and the people that are in the region, whether it's Saudi Arabians, whether it's the UAE, they're not going to come out and publicly support Trump in the situation, but the instability in the regions caused by Iran has been an ongoing thing. And, I never want the U.S. to be involved in any sort of situation. I just think people need to look at this from a perspective of if there was something else, if there was someone else besides Trump in the office and the situation was presented this way, would you think differently?
Okay.
No, I would not have thought any other way. I would have thought the same way I thought when Colin Powell went to make the case. At least Colin Powell went to make the case. This president has not went to make the case. The president has just went. Wait a minute, hold up. Back in, he said July, he said 5 months, 7 months ago. Hold up. Everybody looked up and said, hold up, why the fuck are we going to war with Iran? What the fuck is going on? They didn't make the case then. So every time this president feels like going and bombing Iran, he ain't supposed to go make the case. It's supposed to be okay that he's just going to bomb everybody. He ain't supposed to make his case. He just supposed to say, fuck it. I'm going over there and I'm finna bomb China. Fuck it. I'm finna go over here and bomb Burma. Fuck it. I'm finna go over here and bomb Israel, Australia. At some particular point, you have to go and make the case. Don't say it's okay and the case ain't been made. Because we don't know what the fuck you're doing. You keep saying that they got nuclear weapons, but you told us that they didn't have. You told us that you got rid of them. So what we supposed to believe? You just being war happy now because you ain't letting us know what the hell is going on. Nobody said anything about, okay, you shouldn't go to war or anything else. What we said was you need to make the case like everybody else made the case. And Colin Powell knew he was making a shitty ass case. He knew he was making a shitty ass case, but he walked his ass out there and he made that case, didn't he? And everybody was behind him, wasn't it? But this president ain't making no case, and this is the second bite at the apple. This is gonna be the end of the strikes, and then a couple months later we're gonna do another strike, and we're gonna allow this person just to do another strike. We ain't gonna have no kind of congressional hearings on it. We ain't gonna have nothing. Just gonna be doing any old thing. Okay, just gonna be doing any old thing. Anytime we feel like striking somebody, we ain't gonna make no case at all. We just gonna be doing it. That don't even make sense to me. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. Make the case. If you have a case, make the case. If you don't have a case, then don't be bombing people randomly and telling us it's something else, and we can't quite believe what you're saying. Okay? We can't quite believe what you're saying. If we take you at your word, when you said that you had obliterated all of the nuclear weapons and all the capability and all that other stuff back then, 7 months ago, then why are we going back there to do the same thing this time? Because you were either lying back then or you're lying now. It's one or the other. Okay. Now, I gave y'all 15, 20 minutes. I gave y'all overtime to call in. Nobody called in, but that's fine. We were listening to radio. We were listening to phone calls of people calling in. We got different perspectives. They all over the board. People want it. People don't want it. People want to go to war and people don't want to go to war. I guess I don't give a damn about war. It's not on my land. It's not on it's not on U.S. soil. I don't give a shit. I guess some people would say. I'm not saying that, but some people would say that. It ain't on U.S. land. Okay? But sooner or later, it's going to come to our door for this bullshit. Sooner or later, it's going to come to our door. Y'all hit the like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate y'all. We have content like this every day. I will be back tomorrow with anything. I don't know what I'll be back with. Maybe we have the end of the war by tomorrow. Who knows? We don't know. But I appreciate all of y'all showing up. I appreciate you. I appreciate it. And maybe we'll have a call in. I'll probably do this tomorrow and see if we got a call in. Somebody feel like calling in tomorrow. I don't know. Okay. Yes, there's civilians that have been killed. That's the sad part. But like I said, if Donald Trump had made the case, he made the case, and he comes and he makes a case, I'll say, okay, fine and dandy. You made the case. Go to war, Mr. President. But the president hasn't made the case. So therefore, we're pissed so far because we don't know. But I'll be back. Hit the like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate you all coming out. This is a perilous time in our country. Okay, we'll support Donald Trump if he makes the case and the case is legitimate. Of course, we'll support the president. Okay, so it is what it is. I appreciate y'all. Hit the like, share, and subscribe, please and thank you. Please and thank you. Please and thank you, guys. I'll be back tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning.